Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC-Mura here, and in today's video I wanted to talk to you guys about how you can fight against Chun-Li. This video is kinda hard for me to make because I've been a Chun-Li player for ages. Obviously I have not been playing Chun-Li for I'll say about 10 months or so at this point, but I still obviously love the character. Chun-Li is a character that many people struggle against and many people absolutely despise fighting because she have a very oppressive neutral. Now, the key to beating Chun-Li is understanding what she struggles against, and the main thing that Chun-Li have issues with is actually heavy zoning. You will find that Chun-Li struggles against characters that she will have to chase around the screen. Think of them as like Guile, Urien, Dulcim, Poison, Minat. That style of characters always give Chun-Li issues. Now let's actually take a look at the situation at hand. Let's say that we are gonna try to throw fireballs at Chun-Li, and Chun-Li is gonna try to jump. Like she's gonna block the first one and then jump. Due to her floaty jump, Chun-Li is actually very vulnerable to fireball traps. Like this is an easy fireball trap, and she is completely weak against it. This is because her regular jump is kinda floaty. You might think, alright, Chun-Li have the V-skill 1 jump, and look at this. You'll find that from this range, it's actually very hard for Chun-Li to V-skill, right? Even if I do the slower fireballs, she's still getting hit, right? So the V-skill is not really effective from this angle. It will be effective from far range like that, but again, from ranges like these, as you can see, it's still not really that consistent. And the anti-airs are, again, because the fireball will have a longer travel distance. By the time they reach here, you're gonna be even more plus, and the fireball traps are gonna be even stronger. So Chun-Li kinda have a hard time jumping over fireballs, right? This is kind of an issue. So this means that Chun-Li will have to walk and get into range. They call it like bullying. So she's gonna have to walk forward and bulldog her way in, right? And one of the key attacks that she likes to use is the crouching medium punch. The idea is to slide under fireballs, as you just see, right? This is nice, but it have multiple weaknesses. First of all, if she whiffs like that, there's a ton of whiff recovery. So this is really whiff punishable. If you block it, it is actually block punishable. As you can see, she was -8. So you get to punish her, and you can punish this heavily actually. So that is really nice. The other thing is that this is very weak to standing light kick attacks. Notice Rose's standing light kick. Many characters in Street Fighter V have standing light kicks of this nature, and most of them will outright beat Chun-Li standing light kick. So you can like fireball zone, and between your zoning you can buffer a light kick into a special, and most of the time you will be able to beat out her slide. Many characters have these. If your character have a standing light kick of this nature, it will most likely be very good versus a slide. Another attack that Chun-Li players love to use is the standing heavy kick. The idea is to crush counter you on the startup of the fireball, right? As you can see, then she gets to dash up into combo. This is nice also, but again have many weaknesses. The first thing is, of course, whiffing. It hits high only, so if it whiffs, it's a free sweep. You see Chun-Li whiffing, and then you free sweep Chun-Li. The other thing is that it is really weak against crouching heavy punch style attacks. Attacks like Rose's crouching heavy punch, or like Ryu's crouching heavy punch, G's crouching heavy punch, Ken's crouching heavy punch, the anti-air style crouching heavy punches, or you know, the anti-air crouching attacks in general, I would say are really good versus her standing heavy kick, because she will extend her hurt box. Your character does not have a hurt box upward. You get to hit her extended legs and get to punish. So you can either whiff punish this or buffer a crouching heavy punch style attack to beat it out. So these are two main elements that Chun-Li can struggle against. The other thing is, of course, the standing heavy punch. This is the bane of existence of so many players, and this attack is kinda annoying, I'm not gonna lie. It's very powerful, but again, she cannot really use this if you're occupying the space with fireballs. So if you're filling the screen with fireballs like that, it's gonna be hard for her to standing heavy punch you, right? And another thing that you kind of have to realize is that this is very vulnerable to cross-ups. The standing heavy punch is very jumpable, and the hurt box on her back size is huge, right? Chun-Li is very thick when it comes to her backside as she is doing the standing heavy punch. There is a gigantic hurt box on her back, making this very vulnerable to cross-ups. So if the Chun-Li player is abusing the standing heavy punch, actually just jumping over her for a cross-up is a good answer, right? Now, one of the other things that Chun-Li players love to do is to throw an EX fireball and dash, right? Something like that you're gonna see a lot. So there are two things to note here. First of all, this is not as plus as the Chun-Li players usually think. Most Chun-Li players will overextend here, right? And they will try to dash in you, maybe go for a grab or whatever. And I recommend challenging in this instant. Obviously, if you have an attack like Rose's EX Spiral, that is really good. Otherwise, challenge. Now, if the Chun-Li player is doing the EX Fireball and then dashing, a good answer will be to jump. She kinda will have a hard time anti-airing if she's dashing after the fireballs like that. When Chun-Li dash after a fireball like that, she's kinda open to jumps. So if you see her throwing a lot of fireballs and then dashing, jumping over her is a good option. Now, one of the other things that they love to do is the air licks. Air licks is very anti-airable. Like, you can crouch, and look how late I will anti-air this, right? If you have like a crouching anti-air, these are very strong against Chun-Li's air licks. Most characters in the game, or at least a good portion, have crouching anti-airs, so this is really good. Let's say you block it. When you block it, she is -2, so take back your turn, right? Many Chun-Li players love to challenge here. Take back your turn and punish her. Now, finally, one of the elements that Chun-Li struggle against, and this is especially true this season, is anti-airs. You might be surprised that Chun-Li struggles against anti-airs, but this is the case currently. Let's say, for example, that you are gonna jump on Chun-Li from this distance, right? She will try to anti-air with her back heavy kick. Chun-Li's back heavy kick is a very good anti-air, right? This is a very good anti-air. When she does, she will have a right-left mix-up, etc. Now, this back heavy kick is phenomenal, but this is very, very vulnerable to empty jumps. So as you can see, you can always empty jump against this almost, and because it's heavy, it have a lot of recovery, and then you will get to punish. Now, against empty jumps, Chun-Li is gonna have to standing light kick. If we time something like this, but let's try it one last time, right? The standing light kick is gonna be the main answer. And this is pretty powerful, but also because of the recent patch and because of the light always losing to jump-ins now, if we repeat the same thing, you will saw her standing light kick come out, but the jumping heavy punch beat it clean. So from this distance, you can jump, and a jumping normal will beat out her standing light kick, and an empty jump will bait out her back heavy kick, and you get to punish either way. And now let's talk for a little bit about Chun-Li's pressure and how you can deal with it. And one of the key block strings you'll see many Chun-Li players doing is crouching light punch, standing medium punch, crouching medium kick. It is this string you see because this obviously is a combo on hit, and it is her bread and butter combo. There is something very interesting about this, and that is if you try to backdash after the standing medium punch, you will get a reset, right? This is actually very good, because if the Chun-Li player is trying to hit confirm the crouching medium kick, you just messed up with their hit confirm, right? They will not be able to confirm whether you got a reset or not. Maybe they will commit to a spinning bird kick or a heavy kick legs, and then you get a punish. So backdashing after the standing medium punch is actually a pretty good idea. Another thing you will see quite often is Chun players doing a string like that. Obviously, The back medium punch or forward medium punch, this is neutral on block. It is 7 frame startup and it is neutral on block, so it is pretty abusable. From my experience, there is no Chun-Li player that will use her forward medium punch and then not press anything. They will always do something after it, right? Always, 100%. And because of that, it's actually one of the key moments to challenge. Like if you have a counter poke ready, this is when you want to challenge, because they are always doing something here, right? Maybe they will do something like a standing heavy punch here, right? Like back medium punch into heavy punch. Again, it's a really good point to challenge. Yes, this move is neutral on block, but 99% they are gonna hit something after it, right? So even if you're blocking this, as you can see, the idea still stands. Also, it's actually a really good point to jump, because after it, again, they are likely doing something, so it is a good idea to jump. So from my experience, back medium punch is quite abusable, but they always, because it is abusable and because they always do something after it, it's a really good idea to challenge here with a counter poke or jump. Obviously, a better Chun-Li player will not be that predictable with their tempo, but you get the idea. Now, one of the other things that you might see a lot is a Chun-Li player doing this. A lot of walk up standing medium punch. And the good thing here is that the back dash will also get you out of this, right? So it will not only get you out of the crouching medium kick or air reset you, it will get you out of this. And you can also obviously challenge at this instant, so it is not that big of a deal if you have a read on it. The other thing is, of course, the predictability of the Chun-Li dash. A lot of Chun-Li players love to dash a lot because she does have a 15 frame dash. It's a really good dash, but I do think her dash is reactable. Especially if she's out of the standing medium punch range. If Chun-Li is out of the standing medium punch range and the crouching light punch range, she's gonna dash. Most of the lower level Chun-Li players, they're gonna do something like this, and again, it is a good point to interrupt. Obviously, it's not as simple as that when you're fighting someone who's really good. They're gonna change their tempo, they're not gonna be super flow charty, but because Chun-Li have some really good tools, it does enlist some flow charting from some players, and this is one of the things that you can use against them. Now let's talk about her V-Trigger 1, because Chun-Li's V-Trigger 1 is a pretty good V-Trigger, but to this day I still have a feeling that many people don't really understand it. Let's first talk about the V-Trigger activation, and the one I'm gonna talk about is obviously the slide V-Trigger activate, right? I like to call this the desperate Chun-Li activation, because many Chun-Li players, I'm gonna say most of them, including myself, I'm not taking a dig at anyone, I am scrub like you and I do this all the time. This activation is the go-to for Chun-Li players, and because it is their go-to, it is actually very predictable and you can play around it and punish it really well. Remember the standing light kick rule? You can obviously bait it with a standing light kick, buffer into a special and get a punish. You can whiff punish it and then get a big punish on Chun-Li, or even like with a sweep if you're not that fancy, right? It is really whiff punishable. One of the other things that you also have to know is that when she does this, this activation is 0 on block. So you can mash on your 3 frame and you will trade with Chun-Li, right? So on block it is neutral. It's really whiff punishable. You can buffer a light kick style attack and beat it. There are so many answers to this, and again, because it is so predictable, it's easy to play around, in my opinion. The other thing is when she lands a hit in V-Trigger. Let's say Chun-Li lands a combo like that. The timer on her V-Trigger, as you notice, actually isn't that long. What I like to do is to lame her out. I will not quick get up. Don't quick rise. Don't quick rise, don't back rise. Stay on the ground, lame her out, run the timer out. Let the timer run out. It's actually a very good idea against this V-Trigger and similar short V-Trigger like Rose's V-Trigger too, right? Once you get knocked down, don't quick rise, don't back rise, let the timer run out. Another thing that is actually really important to know is that Chun-Li actually gets some really powerful anti-air combos with this V-trigger, right? If you jump on her and she anti-aired with a back heavy kick, she got all of that. Now, this is an interesting situation because you can play this two ways. You can, for one, simply not jump, right, and play the grounded game. Or you know Chun-Li is hungry for that back heavy kick damage, so you can empty jump and play around it. It's a risky play, but it can work. So for example, if I know that she is hungry for that activation, I can empty jump and get the punish here, right? It's obviously gonna be hard to time, but you can see, yeah, go for the empty jump and punish Chun-Li for going for the back heavy kick. It's a tricky play, it's a risky play, but it can be worth it and it can win you games, right? Another thing that is pretty important to know is that for the most part, for most of her moves, the frame data does not change on block. For the most part, some are, but for the most they don't. For example, again, she's doing the same block string. We said that the standing medium punch or the back medium punch is 0 on block, right? So we said that we can interrupt, right? And you can still do the same thing even in V-trigger. Get the interruption, get the counter hit combo, and go for big damage punishes. So that is still the same. Her crouching heavy punch does change when she's in V-trigger. Usually it's -5. In V-trigger it is -2, as you can see. So it is a lot safer. And now let us talk about the V-trigger 2 and what you really need to know about it. And the first thing and what's most important to know is that all of the mini Kikoshos, all of them are -2 on block. So the activation is the only +1, the others are -2. And this is significant because this means that here you can challenge. So for example, I'm gonna challenge here after this Kikosho, and as you can see, G was able to get the counter hit, right? So if you block any of the mini Kikoshos, make sure that you are challenging. Another thing that's actually very important to know is that there are gaps in between Chun-Li doing the normal and the Kikosho. These gaps you can either use a projectile invincible attack or you can V-shift. And let's check out some examples. For example, she's gonna do the standing heavy punch to Kikosho, right? The wheel kick for G or the EX wheel kick, this is projectile invincible from frame 2. And as you can see, because of that, I'm actually able to just blow through her attack. Even if she did it from, like, say, legs to Kikosho. Let's try it one more time. Again, you can also get the interruption here. So against the standing heavy punch or the heavy kick legs, you can get that one. You can also V-shift here, right? You're gonna be +14 and you're gonna get a punish on this. So against the heavy kick legs and the standing heavy punch, you can use a projectile invincible attack like a heavy punch DP or moves that typically goes through fireball from frame 3 or 4, and you can obviously V-shift. The exception is the sweep. Against the sweep, you can't really use the projectile invincible attacks, right? If I try to use my wheel kick, notice that G lost his bar, but I was not able to use the projectile invincibility against it. Against the sweep, it is a block string, you kinda have to V-shift it, right? Like V-shift is the only thing that works, and you're gonna be at some pushback and not be able to actually punch it, right? So even if you V-shift, she is too far away for you to get a punish. So against the standing heavy punch and the heavy kick legs, fireball invincible attacks, or V-shift against the sweep, only V-shift into V-shift breaks really work. Another thing that's actually pretty important to know is if you're in the corner, many Chun-Li players love to do something like this, right? They're gonna try to guard break you this way, and there are many things that you can do here. The easiest answer is to V-reversal the fireball. If you do, you will get her off of you. Obviously, if you see it coming, you can just use your projectile invincible attack, right? This can work, or just reversal the fireball if you don't have that. It can also be this can also work against the reset mid screen. For example, she can do something like the combo I'm gonna show you now. Resets you and gets the guard break this way. And again, this is the same deal. You can just V-reversal the fireball and you will be able to get out of this, right? Here a V-reversal will get you to escape, or obviously you can use your fireball invincible attack against the fireball. And that is pretty much it for Chun-Li. Obviously she is a little bit more complicated than that. There are other stuff here and there, but you pretty much now have all the essential on how you can deal with the majority of the Chun-Li players. Maybe in the future I can revisit her and do some more tips against how you can, or more tips on how you can fight against her. But that's it for today's video. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment. It helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon page and the Discord server page in the description. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.